Hi guys! In this video, I'm gonna show you how nurse practitioners take conferences and talk about continuing education for nurse practitioners. I'm actually about to go to Seattle for a conference, and this morning I just actually finished seeing finishing patients. I still have some charts to finish, but I have to head to airport right away and then check in, and then fly to Seattle. So I hope you're gonna enjoy tag along with me. And all right, let's go. So got to the airport. It's pretty crowded, kind of scary. Not too many people are wearing masks. I'm wearing N95 just because I see pregnant patients, so I just want to be careful as much as I can so I don't transmit infection to them. But it's pretty crowded. So I got in, and TSA actually wasn't too bad today. It's a miracle. The worker there told me I missed the crowd. Like there was a huge line 10 minutes ago, but I just missed it, so I'm super lucky. Anyway, I got to the lounge, and I got this little corner to myself, so I'm gonna do some work and then wait until the boarding time. Hawaiian Airlines gave me these cute Hawaii themed snacks. This trip was in the end of June. During this time of a year, the sun goes down pretty late in Seattle. The sunset time was about 9:15 p.m. when I went there, so I got to see this beautiful sunset from the airplane. Got to the mainland, almost in Seattle. Finally arrived in Seattle. The plane landed around 10:30 p.m. Just got to the hotel. The flight from Honolulu to Seattle was about 5 hour and a half. It was a smooth flight, thankfully, and I got to do some work. It was very fruitful flight, and I'm staying at this hotel, Olive 8, which is a Hyatt brand. I stayed here before, and I really liked it. It's eco-friendly, it's pretty spacious, clean, and it's close to everywhere. So I decided to stay over here again. Let me show you how it looks like. Just a quick tour of the hotel. Bathroom is pretty spacious, it's clean. As I said, they're focused on eco-friendly, so they had the shared shampoo and body soap and all that stuff. And then the room is spacious enough. I think it's pretty spacious. It's pretty clean, basic, but it's good enough. It's perfect. So I'm here in Seattle for 5 days, 4 nights, and I'm attending a conference called Cardiology and Geriatrics for Primary Care. That conference is over 3 mornings, but tomorrow I actually have a free day. All day I'm free. So I'm planning to get up early and then start my day early. And I get to see my friend that I haven't seen for a long time. I met her in Hawaii, but she's from Seattle and she moved back to Seattle. So I'm gonna meet her for dinner. But yeah, right now it's 11:30 p.m. in Seattle, 8:30 p.m. in Hawaii. So I'm not too sleepy, but since I want to start my day early tomorrow, I probably should go to bed soon. But anyway, this is my day 1 in Seattle. All right, I'll see you tomorrow morning. These pastries are from an Italian bread company, Princi Bakery, and they are super delicious. This time I got a coffee from Bolivia. Regular coffee here is not regular. They're pricey but really good. So after having a coffee, I head to Pike's Place Market. And this is the gum wall. Pretty disgusting, but interesting to see. And after that, I head to a ferry terminal to get to someplace that I wanted to visit. Whenever I get a chance to ride a ferry, I always do. This ferry ride was pretty reasonable. It was like $9, and I got to see this beautiful view of Seattle from the ocean. So I got to Bainbridge Island, which is an island close to Seattle. It was perfect for a day trip, especially with this beautiful, beautiful weather. I got so lucky. There are public transportation. You can call a bus, but also there was a lift.
It's tough sometimes to tell them. I just want them to be.
Cheers!
If you have an extra leash, I'll leash her. Like, I just.
Now we are heading back to Seattle. got a cup of coffee and a snack from this really cute cafe that a friend of mine recommended. Then I met up with my old friend for dinner at this restaurant/bar in downtown. Good morning. Today is day 3 of this trip. This morning, I'm gonna attend the conference. Today is day 1 of the 3-day conference. I'm gonna learn about, let's see here, aortic stenosis, mitral regurgitation, and opioids and pain management. So a lot of cardiac stuff, geriatric stuff that I'm not familiar with. I don't necessarily, I'm not trying to be an expert in that field, but when I see a woman in 60s, 70s, 80s, sometimes they have these comorbidities, and I should have at least a basic knowledge of how to take care of this, why they're taking this certain medicine, why they are getting treated for certain things. So as a family nurse practitioner, I just thought that I should update my knowledge. So it's been a while since I, learned about those. Anyway, right now it's about 6:45. They serve breakfast, so I'm gonna eat breakfast there. The hotel that is not too far, so I'm just gonna head there now. All right, let's go. Right, I'm heading to the Westin Hotel where the conference will be taking place. This is actually my first in-person conference that I'm gonna attend after pandemic started, so I'm a little bit nervous. I don't know if people's gonna wear masks, whatnot. Attendance will be healthcare professionals just like me, but I walked around Seattle yesterday. Only maybe 30% of people wear masks, so even for healthcare professional, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people are not wearing a mask, which is fine. I just want to make sure I keep distance. I just don't want to get COVID and not be able to serve my patients, especially the pregnant patients. I want to do everything. So sounds crazy, but yeah. Anyway, I'm looking forward to it. Okay, the hotel is actually really, really, really close. Right here is the hotel where I'm supposed to go. I think I only walked 2 minutes, so it's literally, it's super close. So I just got back to my hotel room, finished the first day of the conference. It was really interesting, especially the lecture by a palliative care physician was inspirational. There were about 50 participants in the big conference room. Surprised that there are only, probably including myself, there are only 3 people wearing a mask. I understand that that's not mandated at this point, but unfortunately there are a lot of people coughing. So kind of disappointed by my fellow healthcare professionals who are coughing but not wearing a mask. Honestly, they should have stayed at home and do this online conference online. But anyway, that's done. And I have all afternoon free. I think I'm gonna go outside and get some lunch, go to park, and possibly a little bit of shopping. Take advantage of being in this beautiful Seattle. All right, let's go. I ate their famous mac and cheese as a snack at my hotel room, and it was delicious. I was still pretty full from the mac and cheese, but I happened to get a reservation at this super popular restaurant, Din Tai Fung, so I took the opportunity and ate their famous Jiao Long Bao, Shorompo in Japanese, for early dinner. It was delicious. Good morning. This is day 4 of this trip, day 2 of the conference that I'm attending. Right now it's about 6:50. The first lecture starts at 7:30, so I think I'm gonna head there and eat breakfast before the first lecture starts. Let's have a good day. Hi guys, I just got back from the conference. Today I learned about heart failure, how to manage patients with heart failure, also pain management. I don't have a DEA license, which is to prescribe controlled substances by choice, mostly because a lot of my patients are young. A woman who, and many of them are pregnant. Usually we don't use those medicines. So I didn't really see the point of getting the prescription, GEA license, which is pretty expensive. I think if I recall correctly, it was like $600 or $800 just to prescribe one prescription per year. Also, having that license sometimes can attract patients who are drug seeking. So I just, in total, some patients are really needed. And that point, I collaborate with OBGYN physicians and see if they need a prescription for like surgeries and stuff like that. But anyway, so I learned those things today. It was interesting. I'm in the bathroom just because the lighting is better here. But this afternoon, I'm free again. I'm gonna meet up with my friend from Hawaii. We used to study together when she was a student trying to get into dental school, and I was a master's student in a nurse practitioner program. So we used to study together a lot. And now she is a dentist here in Seattle, and I'm a nurse practitioner. So that hard work paid off. So I get to see her. I'm gonna stay at her house for 2 nights. She's actually working today, unfortunately. But I'm gonna go to Trader Joe's. Since we don't have that in Hawaii, and a lot of people in Hawaii love the products from Trader Joe's, so I'm gonna get some omiyage, which is a gift that we bring back home when we visit elsewhere. That's actually a Japanese term, but people from Hawaii knows that term. We use that term all the time. So I'm gonna get some omiyage from Trader Joe's. Before I head to Trader Joe's, I wanted to review some data, interesting data. Well, first of all, what is the continuing education? In the United States, for the folks who live in different countries, like in Japan, might not be familiar with continuing education. So continuing education is really, really common for healthcare professionals in the US, including nurses and nurse practitioners. That can be attending conference or taking online courses. It depends on the state, but in Hawaii, nurse practitioner or APRNs, advanced practice registered nurses have to complete certain hours of continuing education. It's been like that for many years, as far as I know. And also, recently they changed the law, and now to renew the registered nurse license, you have to complete certain hours of continuing education as well. So a lot of times you get paid especially if you work for large organizations. You get some allowance from your employer, and that's part of a benefit. So what's normal for nurse practitioners? What nurse practitioners can expect from employers in terms of financial support for continuing education? There's a good website on the AANP website, and let me look at that. So from the data from them, they're saying that attending 122 conference per year is not inappropriate, meaning that you kind of deserve to attend 122 conference per year. If you ask that to your employer, that's not unreasonable at all. And then so allowance in terms of the money that you can use for like airfare, staying at a hotel, or sometimes food, or using Uber, Lyft, paying for conference fee. So AANP says $1,500 to $2,500 per year is not unreasonable. From my employer, for my full-time job, I get $2,300 per year to use for airfare, conference fee, or transportation, staying at a hotel. So I can use it in either of those ways. Let's say, but the max is $2,300. If I use more than that, then the rest I have to pay, of course. But on top of that, I also get PTO just to use for continuing education, which is 40 hours per year. So I can take 1 week of PTO just to use for CME. And of course, I have to prove that I actually attended for the conference, and how much I spend and stuff like that. But it's a good benefit. I used to work for private practice, which was a much smaller practice, and also I was new grad nurse practitioner. I didn't know what to ask for, so I didn't get any of those benefits. I did attend one conference that my employer wanted me to attend. That wasn't my choice, and but that's pretty much it. It was in Hawaii. I didn't get to travel anywhere, so that's different. So for those of you who are new grad or looking for a new job, make sure to ask if the continuing education is including as a benefit, because you deserve that. And one more fun fact that I researched. Whenever I go to a different state, not that I want to move out from Hawaii. Hawaii is my home, but I just kind of curious how much nurse practitioners get paid in different states. So I did some research again. So according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, Washington is the 4th best paying state for nurse practitioners. And the annual mean wage for a nurse practitioner in Washington is $130,840. And particularly in Seattle, nurse practitioners get paid $137,830 per year. If you compare to Hawaii, let's say urban Honolulu, where I live, the mean annual wage is $129,250. So you can see that us nurse practitioners in Honolulu get paid less than nurse practitioners in Washington, including those who live in Seattle. How about the cost of living? So if you look at the NerdWallet, cost of living in Seattle, Seattle is I think there are a lot of people who work for tech industry. Those people make really good money. So things are not the cheapest when you compare to other parts of United States. But when you compare to Hawaii, cost of living in Seattle is 21% lower compared to Honolulu, Hawaii, where I live. Especially the housing and food costs are cheaper and cheaper here in Seattle compared to Honolulu, which I completely agree. So if you think about nurse practitioners in Seattle or in general in Washington, they make more than us and they pay less for housing and food costs. So, interesting. But the weather is really nice in Hawaii, as you guys know. You can't surf 5 times a week in Seattle, so that's a lot to think about. So I think it depends on what you want in your life. But Seattle is a pretty nice place. I think I don't mind living here. But anyway, that's all the fun facts that I got to know. Let's get to Trader Joe's.
That's part of why I have a second one, so I can do every other day. Starts getting
Then I met up with my friend, her boyfriend, and her mom, and we went to U Village for dinner after we went to her friend's birthday party. After the conference in the morning, my friend took me to this really cute restaurant for brunch. Then my friend and her boyfriend took me to Chittenden Locks. This lock connects Puget Sound, Lake Union, and Lake Washington. There are a big water level difference, and the gates control the water levels. And it was pretty interesting to see that process. Next to the lock is Fish Ladder. We got to see salmons returning back to their birthplace for egg laying. We went on a hike to Discovery Bay. This is around 4:30 p.m., but it's not dark at all. Can you believe that? The weather was perfect on this day. Actually, all the days I was in Seattle were perfectly sunny, which is rare in Seattle.
なんかすごい光ってる海が。
キラキラ。
After having a quick dinner at a restaurant, we went back to my friend's place in Green Lake and took a walk around the Green Lake Park. This was around 8:30 p.m., but it was still bright. This fun, quick trip is ending. Flying back to my home, Hawaii. Thanks for watching this video. See you next time.